morning, everyone, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here in the woods this morning doing a little bit of early season scouting. This is summertime scouting, but the temperatures have been a little bit cooler this morning because we had a thunderstorm roll through here yesterday. And I thought I'd check out the trees and the forest floor to see if I could see any sign for the upcoming squirrel and deer season here in Tennessee. And so far I'm seeing a lot of small hickory nuts hitting the ground, so I think we're going to have a good mass crop this year. Anyway, today is the 4th of July, so let me take the opportunity to wish all my fellow Americans out there a happy 4th of July. I hope you're having a good one, whether you're out on the lake fishing, or if you're just spending time with your family, or if you're out in the woods hiking like I am. You know, I hope you're having a great 4th of July. So folks, what I'm going to talk about today is squirrel hunting. And normally I go in the woods to hunt squirrels with a .22 rimfire. But you know, you really can't talk about squirrel hunting without talking about shotguns, and in particular the 410 gauge shotgun. There's a lot of hunters out there, and I'm sure a lot of you are watching right now, that love to go squirrel hunting or even rabbit hunting or small game bird hunting, such as quail, dove, or whatever, with something as diminutive as the 410 gauge. You know, that's a real challenging sport, and you really can't talk about small game hunting without mentioning the 410. And I've got one here that I just recently restored for an acquaintance of mine. This is a Stevens Model 59A bolt action. This is a gun of the past. These are no longer being made, but you see them occasionally at gun shows, pawn shops, yard sales, you know, and sometimes they're listed in the newspaper for sale. And they're really good, solid shotguns. You know, they're great for hunting, and that's what they're intended for. You know, they're made for small game hunting, generally speaking. So as a sporting arm, this here would make a fine addition to any small game hunter's arsenal, because they're just ideally suited for that particular type of activity. They're just a fine sporting arm, you know. And bolt action is kind of unusual by modern day standards for a shotgun. Most shotguns now are either semi-automatic, pump, or double barrel over and under sporting arms. And these old bolt actions, you know, they take you back to the past, and they make fine squirrel hunting guns. You know, they pattern real well, and this one here in particular is really nice. It came with an American black walnut stock. It had a lot of gouges and scratches in it, so I finished it out, and I put kind of a semi-gloss sheen on here. And I know for a fact that the owner of this shotgun harvested a wild turkey with it this spring, you know, so like I say, they're ideally suited for hunting. And most all 410 shotguns come with 2 3/4 to 3-inch chambers, so you can shoot the longer 3-inch Magnum shells out of these guns. And most all of them also come with a full choke from the factory. Now the modern 410 shotguns, which have had quite a resurgence lately, you know, come with screw-in chokes, and you can get even tighter patterns. And a lot of those are ideally suited for turkey hunters, especially for younger hunters or for older hunters that can't tolerate the recoil of a heavy kicking shotgun like a 12 gauge or even a 20 gauge. A lot of those 3 and 3.5-inch Magnums are just too much for some shooters out there. So anyway, I'm going to be patterning this old shotgun, and this morning I made up some targets here. I just drew these out with a Sharpie magic marker, and we'll see how well some of these shells that I've got here will pattern at hunting ranges. Here I've got some 3-inch 11/16 ounce number 4 shot, and I've also got some reloaded 410 shot shells that have number 7.5 shot. Now any of that shot size is suited perfectly fine for small game such as squirrels. Number 4 being a little bit heavy, but ideally you'd want either number 6 or maybe 7.5. But you know, any of that shot size will do just fine for small game hunting such as squirrels. And the thing about the 410 shot shell, here I'll take one out, show it to you if you're not familiar with it, but most of you are. It's a rather thin shot shell, but it has a fairly generous amount of shot in the column here. These here have a paper wad at the front. You know, most of them are crimped, but here lately I've noticed a lot of these have this little paper covering to hold the shot in. These are number 4 shot, and we're going to try them out here at about 35 yards or so, and it's kind of a close range proposition, and that's what hunting should be about. You know, you don't want to take real long shots. The only thing about hunting with a shotgun, for me personally, I like to use a 22 rimfire because I don't get any shot in the meat. I can generally take longer shots, and it's just more of a challenge and sharpens my marksmanship skills using a 22 for squirrel hunting. And that's the reason I choose to use a rimfire, you know, 22 rimfire. So anyway, let's get this target set up and we'll take a few shots. All right, folks, I've got a target set up down here at approximately 30 yards, and I'm actually at 32 yards right here from where I'm standing to the target. But before I take that shot, let me talk a little bit more about this gun, just briefly. A few things that I left out at the first part of the video. As I mentioned, it is a bolt action, and the locking lug is right there at the root of the bolt handle. There you can see that locking lug, and it positively engages the receiver right here. So you have a fairly strong locking system in this old gun, so it's very safe in that regard. It's a tubular fed magazine, just like a lot of my favorite 22 rifles. It holds 2 3-inch shells in the tube and 1 in the chamber. Also, the safety, it's in reverse of what you might expect most guns to be. Rearward is fire, forward is safe. Now in the safe position, like if you were out hunting and carrying the gun, the action is locked shut. You can't work the bolt back. So you have to put it on fire to operate the bolt. Okay? Kind of a neat little safety reminder, so to speak. So let's go ahead and get it loaded up. I know I don't have anything here in the chamber, so I'm going to load up one of these 3-inch shells. This is using the number 4 shot, first of all. Just slide it into the tube. Okay, let's take a shot. Go see what we got here. Okay, that's using number 4 shot. So we got one right here into the vital, and then a few back here, a couple along the backbone there. That squirrel probably would have died pretty quickly because 1 pellet is all you need. That's using number 4 shot. So let me get another target put up and we'll try the number 7.5. Now we're going to try a 2 3/4 inch shell using 7.5 shot. Okay, here we go. Let's go check it out. That's a little bit better. Got a nice even spread, but we got several right here in the vitals. One right here, well, two right here in the neck bone, two in the backbone, three in the backbone there. But either way, that squirrel would have been quite dead, you know, even using number 7.5 shot. So 32 yards, that's a pretty good distance for that shot size out of that shotgun. Okay guys, I went ahead and set up my steel targets that I normally shoot at with a 22. Let's see if this number 7.5 shot has enough knockdown power to actually knock them over at that distance. I'm going to load these in here one at a time right now. So let's try the bunny rabbit first. He's on the ground over here. No problem. He was at about, 25 yards or so. Now I see a squirrel up there on that limb. Let's get a close-up of that. There you can see that squirrel down there, sitting on the limb. There's another squirrel down there on the ground at about 30 yards. All right, well, he didn't just fall over, he just kind of toppled over. So anyway, folks, let me go retrieve my targets, and then I'll give you some closing thoughts regarding the 410 shotgun, Stevens Model 59A. Well guys, upon closing out this video, I'd like to discuss these two targets side by side and give you an up-close view. This is using the number 4 shot out of a 3-inch shell. There you can see the hits. That's at 32 yards. And this is using number 7.5 shot out of a 2 3/4 inch shell. It's quite obvious which one I would use. That's the number 7.5 2 3/4 shot. Now, that could be due to the type of wad that was used, the powder, or whatever. These are reloads, and these are really good shot shells that I shot this target with. Even though they're shorter, you could see there were more vital hits, and you could probably stretch that distance out to about 40 yards and still be able to harvest that squirrel quite cleanly. I mean, just look at all those hits right there in the vital, all in the lung and heart area, one in the backbone there, two in the neck bone there. Yes, there's a few in the hams there, and that's one of the reasons I prefer to use a 22 rimfire for squirrel hunting. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you don't have to pick any shot out of the meat, and generally speaking, you can make longer shots with a 22 rifle than you can with a shotgun. But also the marksmanship challenge is what I enjoy more than anything, and it really hones your skills as a rifle shooter to go small game hunting with a rimfire, and that's why I enjoy it so much. But you know, I realize that there are a lot of guys out there that watch my channel that thoroughly enjoy squirrel hunting with a shotgun, especially a 410. And so I thought I'd include this fine model right here because, as you well know, and as most of you can agree with, we have a camaraderie going on here. We like old guns, especially old 22s, but also these old shotguns that are no longer in production. To me, there's just something special about these old guns, especially when they're in good condition like this one here. So if I were pressed to use a shotgun for small game hunting, like squirrel hunting, I would probably choose this one right here. You know, it's just ideally suited for the squirrel woods. It points very nicely. I mean, as soon as I get the gun up to my shoulder, I'm looking right down the barrel at the bead. I don't have to move my head around or anything. The safety is right there. Even though it's working in reverse, that's something you have to get through your head there. Rearward is fire, forward is safe. And with it on safe, you can't work the action as I demonstrated earlier. You have to put it on fire. Now you can work the action. But you know, it's pretty solidly built. I love the wood in this gun. It's a pretty piece of black walnut. Now, although the stock in this gun is American black walnut, I decided to give it a semi-gloss finish. I could have made it real glossy, but I realized that this gun is going to be used for hunting purposes, whether the owner decides to go squirrel hunting or turkey hunting. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I didn't want to make it too glossy. Now, by most standards, it's still a little bit too glossy for turkey hunting, but I know for a fact that the owner likes to hunt out of a blind, so it shouldn't be much of an issue in that regard. But you know, if you're going to hunt out in the open, you want a duller finish, because as most of you turkey hunters out there are very well aware of, turkeys have very keen eyesight, and anything that's out of place, like something shiny, they're going to pick up on that pretty quickly. Well, anyway, folks, while I had this gun in my possession and I was doing some work on it, I thought I'd take the opportunity to use it in a video and to kind of do a review on it for those of you that like these old shotguns, and kind of give you my experience with them. But you know, I have to say that if I ever run across one, I'm really kind of looking for a break action 410, but if I run across one of these in good shape like this one here, I'll try to pick it up for my collection. So with that being said, remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever your outdoor activity happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And also remember, hit that like button, smash the bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, once again, y'all have a happy 4th of July, and get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. Take care, stay safe, and God bless. I'll see you next time.